What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Last night my buddy Mondo dropped off his CRX. He hit me up for some work because he really doesn't have time for it. Granted, he's got family, 2 jobs, and night shift, day shift. I get it, I understand, and we kind of ran through everything he needed to get done. Mondo CRX, it's part of the NorCal CRX owners group. We've seen this thing at the car meets, the cruises, and he took it down for an engine swap and then going turbo, and it just kind of sat after that. I already made a bunch of lists with him last night. There is going to be a lot more added to this because I still haven't dove into the car just yet, but we're going to do that today. And I think I'm going to keep this video in 2 sections. Today we're going to try to tackle most, if not all, of the turbo kit, and then we're going to attempt to get the car to turn on before he takes it home. I drove around today, just finished eating, literally was just sitting here trying to figure out my plan of attack, the order of operation here, and I'm just going to get right to it, guys. I'm going to start off with the main thing, which is the radiator. We have a Skunk 2 Alpha Series EF specific radiator, and this is like my recommendation for the EF in general because, like I said, EF specific. The height of this is correct for the chassis. The EGs are a little bit taller, where people either got to cut the support to bring it more lower, or they got to cut the hood to clear the radiator cap. I run this in my red car, and I've had it in my red car over 6 years, no problems. And I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing mounted. So the radiator is really close to the wastegate. It's got maybe a 1/4 inch right there, and this is pushed in all the way to the passenger side. It's just hitting right there, which is common. Mine is actually pretty cut out. All of this is pretty cut out to bring it further back because the fan sits on this end, and because it's a top mount, the downpipe goes this way. Well, you look at that. Somebody come look at this. So we have a lot of clearance now. This sits underneath that. This is cleared from the wastegate, and the radiator is pulled as further back as possible, or in this case, more forward. So that looks good. I just got to figure out a nice little cushion on the bottom here, because it is literally just sitting in the hole, right? And then we'll secure it on the top. I just realized he didn't bring his fan. It's not here. I'm gonna have to grab one of my fans just for mock-up purposes. He said he has an eBay fan, so I'm sure it'll be a lot slimmer than my Spall. So we'll do that once we secure the radiator. So I got the radiator mounted. I did add a little grommet right here. There was about 1/2 inch of play. I had this bracket which originally belonged to my wagon, and it just fitted so perfectly. So I added a grommet to compensate that gap so the radiator doesn't bounce up and down. I do have a zip tie down low to keep the radiator from moving forward, because there is no bracket on this end. I was gonna make another one here, but it will look pretty ugly having a, you know, like a strap over. So this is gonna work perfectly fine. I did move, where's it at? I did move this grommet here over, made a new hole, and then I used self-tapping screws to secure it, so the radiator is sitting on a rubber cushion. I don't have any materials for the downpipe and dump tube. I got a request and go pick that up hopefully later tonight, if not tomorrow, no big deal. I still haven't mounted the fan on yet to see the spacing, but I'm not worried about it again right now. So I think what I'm going to step into is the intercooler. A lot of people has been asking me, how do I mount my intercoolers on my EFs? Now, if you guys haven't seen, or if you haven't been around long enough, I've done so many turbo EFs, so many different types of intercooler, so many different ways of mounting the intercooler to the support. A lot of people have been asking me about clearance for the intercooler with the stock EF bumper support, and I've done it in a way that still allow you to have a bumper support, but also mount a really big intercooler. So now that we have a car that needs intercooler mounted and it has a stock bumper support, I'm going to show you guys how I go about fitting an intercooler behind an EF bumper support. Bumper. So the intercooler of choice here is a dual backdoor Talon style intercooler. This is the same intercooler I ran on my EF sedan, same intercooler I ran on the wagon, and same intercooler I ran on my red CRX. This is probably the best fitting intercooler for an EF that has, well, I guess it doesn't matter if it's a ram hole or a top mount or a log manifold. Dual backdoor just prevents you from cutting up your bumper more than you need to. This particular intercooler used to be 80 bucks and now they're like, I don't know, almost $200 or something like that, and it sucks. But Mondo's got one. This is what we're gonna rock with. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull off that bumper support and show you guys how I modify that. So the bumper support, pretty heavy, pretty bulky. If you have the imagination, you can kind of see this top section right here is a separable piece from the bottom. And if you really look at it, it looks like the JDM bumper support, if you've seen a JDM bumper support before. Now what I do is, one, to make it light, two, to make space, I remove this whole entire big bulky section. But if you want like the full structure of the bumper support, you can always just cut off the center or cut off what you need to clear the intercooler. I know a lot of people who just mount it from the bottom of the bumper support and then it sticks past the bumper, and then you end up having this buck tooth hanging out at the bottom of the car. Don't get me wrong, if it works for you, it works for you, but I like the cars to be clean up in the front, especially being out where I'm at. I like to keep the intercooler behind the bumper. That's the goal here, even though I don't have his bumper. The thing is, you got to understand is that the mounting points for the bumper support is here on the bulky part, while the thin section we're shooting for is on the top, and it's not actually connected anywhere there aside from the ends over here. So I added a flat stock from here to stabilize this bar to the mounting point, and then I cut everything out. What I did here was I took flat stock. This is like 1/4 inch thick, and I get this from Home Depot. You don't really see it because I cut that label off already, but I cut off enough to attach this top bar to the bottom support, right? And then over here you can see the outline of that mounting point, and I put one finger there to mark that line, to line up this plate to weld it to the top section, because this is what I'm going to cut entirely out. So from the bottom here all the way across, all the way, this spot weld is so rusted out that it actually separated already. And then same thing on this end, I'm going to cut it to about right there, and then this whole entire center section should give me the space to clear the intercooler that's going to be there. So I got the center section right here cut out. You can see it right here, sliced right through. Took a little bit of sawzawing action and some cut off wheels. So you can see the big bulky end is still attached there because I welded that back plate to tie the two in together, which is right here. The grommet, I kind of put it back on, but see, it's welded right there, and that's gonna keep this from being flimsy because it is only spot welded on this end. With that little piece I welded in the back, this is not going to be flimsy. Now the only thing that's going to be flimsy is the middle, right? But the point is to still have this top section so the bumper is not sagging in the middle. So this piece should still have the holes for the top of the bumper, but opens up this whole entire center section for the intercooler. Now, because his radiator support is all tweaked out and the hood wouldn't close and the headlight was super sunk, it bothered me. So I was sitting here tweaking the front end to get it to latch, to get the headlights looking like where it's supposed to be sitting. And we got it pretty decent. Now, mind you guys, this is a R-dot hood, and it never fits like OE, so there's going to be some massive gaps and stuff on this fitment, and all the body panels aren't in the greatest condition anyways to really get a good alignment on it. But we got the hood to latch, we got the headlights pulled out, the alignment pulled out, so it looks somewhat decent and almost symmetrical to the other side, so that's good. The intercooler is a backdoor style, and that means we have to cut the radiator support some more. I'm just gonna cut the center section right here out, so pretty much this rectangular area here all the way to this edge, all the way down for spacing all around the coupler on both sides, and that should give me the window to put the back door inlet and outlet into the radiator support. It's literally just holding itself up right now. That's awesome. I do have a spare bumper in the backyard without the grills cut out. Even though it's an aftermarket bumper, it doesn't really fit well, but it'll give me a point of reference of the height of the bumper to know if I need to pull the intercooler higher. Actually, you know what? It looks like I can go a lot higher. And again, it's holding itself up. That's crazy. So it looks like the intercooler, as high as possible, is going to fit perfectly in the grill. That's awesome. All right guys, so I have the intercooler mounted up, and I had to flip the intercooler upside down because the inlets and outlets was way too high. The charge pipe side was fine to go to the throttle body, but because this side was so high, it actually sat higher than the compressor housing, and to make a pipe to go from the turbo to the compressor housing, it'll be too complicated. So flipping the intercooler upside down, you can see the inlet is now lower and it sits lower than the compressor housing, so it should be simple enough to do a 90 straight down into the intercooler from the turbo housing. The intercooler flipped upside down worked out great because it puts the tab right here on the support. I put some nut certs in there, bolted it down with 12 mils, and we are pretty firm. So right now I'm going to go ahead and clean all my tools, put it in the garage, have a clean workspace, and then we're going to start on, I want to say, the passenger charge pipe. Now, unfortunately, these pipings are coated black, but because he's the homie, I don't mind doing the extra work of cleaning the black off for aluminum welding. If I don't know you and you're coming here to get work done and you have a provided kit, it has to be raw aluminum. If you don't have a raw aluminum kit, I'm not going to take it. I'm going to provide my own kit and build off of that. Right now we have 245s. We have this weird, I don't know what this is, We have 2 90s and 2 straights. It looks like I'm gonna have to use the way I want to build it. I want to tuck it in nice and, you know, away from the towers. So I'm gonna get to measuring, chopping, and see what we come up with. Perfect fit. Look at that. So I do have 2 joints on the black piping that I have to weld up, which is right here, right there, and I lied, there's a 3rd one down there. You guys know how titanium, you can change its color when you finish welding it? Well, when you weld a painted pipe, it kind of distort into its own, I guess, its own color. So anyways, the welds didn't come out too great because of the coated end, but the raw aluminum side came out really nice. But we're just gonna work with what we got. So this right here is pretty much done as far as the piping goes. I still need to do the blow-off valve, but simple enough. Down there to the intercooler. Oh, god damn. Ugh. Look at that. Perfect. Perfect. Yes sir, that looks nice and tucked. I found a 2-inch straight coupler, and I found a 2-inch tubing, which is stuck in the turbo. So I found this right here. I found this it's a little over 2 2.25, and then this side is actually expanded to 2.5, which is weird that I have this piece. I don't know why, but I took this 2-inch, slide it into the smaller end, right? This side right here goes to the turbo, like so. And then from the intercooler, I have a 5 1/8 inch straight tubing, 2.5, because this is transitioned over to 2.5 now. And then I just so happen to have this random pie, because I have a bunch of random stuff in here. This pie seems to be like a perfect fit. So if I just kind of move it around here, right, if you look, that looks like it's going to work. All welded up. Hell yeah. So we got the charge pipe on the driver's side and the passenger done. Blow-off valve I'm probably gonna have to do tomorrow because I gotta grind all this black off. I should have used raw aluminum right there, but it is what it is. We work with what we got. So right now I'm gonna clean up. I'm gonna head to Kells to pick up some material for the downpipe, and I'm hoping to knock this out tomorrow as well too. I spent my morning in the junkyard making a separate video of the score that we got, but I think we left off where we were doing the charge pipe for both the driver, which is done and secured, and the passenger, which I just finished welding the blow-off valve right there. And right now we're going to move into the downpipe. So last night I also went to Kel's house to pick up the materials to make the downpipe. Big shout out. We got a couple scrap bin straights. We also bought a 2.5 straight right here. in case we need it. I bought a long 90, short 90, a 90 split into two 245s, and Kel is currently making me a bunch of pies, which I actually gotta go pick up right now. And the reason why I bought so many different bends, I'm gonna need them anyways later, but I bought a bunch of bends and cuts just so I have it all on hand to, you know, make this downpipe fit and snake through everything that's in the way here.
Finish him. Finish him.
It clears the fan. I just took the fan off to pull the downpipe out because, you know, really tight fit. But damn, boy. All right, guys, so we are on day 1000 on the Turbo CRX. We've been doing a lot of running around these last couple of days. You will see it in the videos before and after this one, but we're back on the Turbo CRX today. I want to button up the turbo kit on this car so we can cap this video off. I want to give you guys a quick little recap up to this point. This car came with the motor already in the car. It had a turbo manifold on it with the turbo attached and the wastegate down below. I started off with mounting the radiator, and then after the radiator we moved on to the intercooler, which then allowed me to route the piping for the passenger side with the blow-off valve attached to that as well. And then we moved over to the driver's side to do the charge pipe for that. Pretty simple setup, right? And I took the intercooler off to do the dump tube for the wastegate and also the downpipe for the turbo. Now that's practically the turbo kit installation. But one more thing I have to do is to build the return line from the turbo down to the oil pan. So I took the turbo off to install this return fitting much easier because I got really big hands, and we have pretty much the return line, the bung there, and the fitting here. So before I put this back on, the compressor actually sits pretty close to this frame, and typically with top mounts we have this issue where it's really tight. On my top mount in my EF, my turbo compressor housing was actually in this frame, but I had ZC headlights, so it's a little more narrower so we can get air coming through here. But for this one, it actually sits in front of it, but I want to give it more space to ensure we're not restricting air. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut that motherfucker out and put the turbo back on. I did a number on that frame, look at that. So this was a little more tricky because of having to cut that little curve right there on the inside, but we got it done with the carbide bit. And I'm about to put the turbo back on so we can mock up the return line, or actually gotta pull the pan off. So guys, after procrastinating over and over and over again, I actually finished the return line a little while ago, and it's literally a straight shot. The length that Brian provided with the dash 10 hose, I didn't have to cut anything. All I did was install the dash 10 straight fitting onto the hose, and it literally just went from the turbo straight to the pan. So the pan is all secured. I threw a downpipe back on just for a final look. I'm gonna have to take everything back out tomorrow, because tomorrow in a separate video we're gonna button up the car to try to get it to turn on. This video's goal was just to fabricate pretty much the whole entire turbo kit, other than the intercooler going back on, because I wanted to show you guys all of this. The turbo kit is pretty much done. This car came non-running, engine just in the car. We're doing the turbo kit today in this video. Tomorrow we're gonna try to button it up and get this thing to turn on for the first time before it takes it home. So I am gonna wrap up the video right here. Be sure to hit the like button if you guys enjoyed today's progress on Mondo's Turbo CRX. And if you guys wanna stick around for the first startup of this car, I hope, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. And also, return line, bung, wastegate, dump tube, done. Everything else for tomorrow.